Hi, I'm Lanny, and this is Preserving Today. Martinelli's sparkling apple cider. Something that's served at most holiday celebrations in America, as far as I know. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year. It's a fancy drink in a wine bottle that's appropriate to serve to children. And there's nothing wrong with it. The stuff's pretty good. But what if you wanted to make your own sparkling apple cider? And what if you wanted to do it making it naturally carbonated by using fermentation? You can. I have, and I've done it a few different ways, and I want to tell you about that. The first way that you can make sparkling apple cider at home using fermentation is by getting fresh pressed apple juice. It's juice when it's filtered, it's cider when it's unfiltered. So I'll say fresh pressed apple cider. You can do this with a fruit crusher or cider press, like we have here. If you want to see the equipment that we use, you can watch this video here or check the description for a link. Fresh apple cider that's never been pasteurized or heat treated is perfect for fermentation because all the natural bacteria that's present on that fruit is in the apple cider and never been killed by heating it up. All I do for this is I place the apple cider into a canning jar and put the tight-fitting lid on. Now at this point, you could leave it room temperature, but things are going to process really quickly. And because of the sugar in the apple cider, the yeasts are going to get super excited and they're going to be really active, and yeast likes to convert things into alcohol. Before you know it, you're going to have alcoholic sparkling cider and then no more sparkling and just alcoholic cider. And if that's not your goal and it's more of an alcohol-free sparkling cider soda like Martinelli's, my tip for you would be to actually move this to the refrigerator right away. Most people think that fermentation only happens at room temperature. And you're right, it does happen at room temperature and it happens quicker, especially in warm environments. But fermentation will also happen in the refrigerator. If you keep this in the sealed container in your fridge for about 2 weeks, you will have the perfect sparkling apple cider with no alcohol, no yeasty smell or taste, and all of the delicious probiotic effervescence that you were hoping for. Controlling the temperature of this item would allow the other bacteria to work slowly while really slowing down the activity of the yeast, which would prevent it from turning into alcohol too quickly like it could at room temperature. If you don't have access to freshly pressed apple cider, you can still make sparkling apple cider at home, but you need to add some kind of a starter culture. If you're able to find juice that doesn't have added citric acid or sugar, and it's just juice, but it's been pasteurized, you can try to just put this in the jar the same, but add a tablespoon of kombucha or brine from another ferment. Leave this on your counter sealed for a day or two until it builds up pressure, and then move it to the refrigerator. You should get some sparkly effervescence, but the flavor will vary depending on what starter you used. The next way to make sparkling apple cider at home is with milk kefir grains. We're lucky enough to have this fresh pressed apple cider from Bellwood Farms here locally, and they don't pasteurize their juice. It's just treated with a low heat UV light. And that does kill some of the bacteria, which keeps it fresh for longer in the stores for that company. But lucky for you, there is bacteria left there to work with. I've also experimented with leaving this for a long period of time in the refrigerator, and it also turns sparkly and delicious, but I did let it go a little too long and it started to become alcoholic. But back to the milk kefir grains, I put my milk kefir grains in, fermented it for about 24 hours on the counter, strained it and moved it to glass bottles, and moved that to the fridge, and I also had sparkling apple cider. So without overwhelming you with too much information, there's this wide range of ways to get the bacteria into the apple juice to make it sparkly without making it alcohol, and you can do that at home. The best one that I had flavor-wise and carbonation definitely was from the fresh pressed apple juice that we did here at home when I sealed it and just left it in the refrigerator. The second best flavor was the one I did some kombucha in. And my least favorite, but still good, homemade sparkling apple cider was using the milk kefir grains. I think they were just too active and they moved things along quickly, leaving it tasting a little bit yeasty and alcoholic. I find when you're trying to make apple cider sparkling but not alcoholic, doing it at a very cold temperature with not a lot of added bacteria starter is better. So if you want to make homemade sparkling apple cider this holiday season for your Thanksgiving, Christmas, or New Year's celebration, if you have a juicer like this one, you could definitely juice your own apples on a smaller scale and skip the apple crusher and cider press that I showed earlier, making just enough juice to do a quart or 2 quarts for your upcoming event. Have you ever made your own apple cider, sparkling or otherwise? Let me know in the comments, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday season and a happy new year. I'm Lanny, and this was Preserving Today.